Hello everyone, welcome to the 10th session of History of Class 9, second chapter, Socialism in Europe and the Russian Revolution. We have already completed 9th session of this chapter. Last topic, what we were doing was, we were doing the February Revolution in Petrograd. That means Petrograd means St. Petersburg. At the end of this topic, we read that the monarchy system in Russia was over. That means the king, Tsar Nicholas II, was abdicated on 2nd March. Now our next topic is after February. Now what happened after February? Now in our mind, naturally it will come that after February it's March, but no, it's not like that. Now after February till October, what happened in this between? Because our next topic is October Revolution. So between this February, after February and October, what happened in this between? So we'll read in this topic. So all of you, please turn page number 36. So it will be very easy for you to interact. Army official, landowners and industrialists were influential in the provisional government. Now after abdication of king, that means Tsar Nicholas II, what happened? A temporary government, that means a provisional government was formed. Now who was looking after this provisional government? Like the people, army officials, landowners, industrialists and all, because army also supported in this, and peasants, landowners, they played a very important role. So now this provisional government was under this army officials, landowners, industrialists and all. Now even at the time, but the liberal as well as the socialists among them walked towards an elected government. Even like socialists and liberals also supported this provisional government. Why liberal and socialist also supported this provisional government? Because liberal and socialist, what they want? They want change. And already the king monarchy system was already over. Now something change is getting to happen now. So that is the reason now this liberal and socialists also started supporting this provisional government. Now when the government was under the Tsar Nicholas II, what happened at the time? No any union, no any association, no any committees, no any council was formed. But as soon as this monarchy system was over, what happened? Restrictions on public meetings and associations were removed. Now at the time, to form association, union and all this was illegal. Now after this abdication of the king Tsar Nicholas II, what happened? All this became legal. That means free, isn't it? So Soviet, like the Petrograd Soviet. Now what do you mean by Soviet? Soviet means you can say a group or national council, a group of national council. What happened? Were set up everywhere, though no common system of election was followed. Now what happened? Many national council were formed, many groups were formed after that. But what happened? There was no any common system of elections were followed now. Now many Soviet formed in Russia. In April 1917, the Bolshevik leader Vladimir Lenin. Now again this person comes here, Vladimir Lenin, in April 1917. Now who is this Vladimir Lenin? Now let's recapitulate little bit backside. Let's go to page number 32. We read in page number 32 about Vladimir Lenin. In which topic? In socialism in Russia. This Vladimir Lenin was the person who led the Bolshevik group. He was the person who started this Bolshevik group. What he thought? He thought society should be disciplined and should control the member and quality of its association or a group. That means he want a very disciplined, well disciplined people in his group, and he thought the society also should be well disciplined. This Vladimir Lenin, who led this Bolshevik party. Now again he came in April 1917. Now where this Vladimir Lenin was till March, where this Vladimir Lenin was, you can say he was in exile. Vladimir Lenin returned to Russia from his exile. Exile means he was out of the country, because at the time King Tsar Nicholas II, he did not like the method of Vladimir Lenin. So Vladimir Lenin was sent to exile. Now sent to exile means like he was running away from this Tsar Nicholas II, because Tsar Nicholas II said that if anybody caught this person, I'll send this person to the jail. I'll put him into the jail. So that is why scared of king, and he was running out of the country. Like it is said that he stayed in a place called Serbia. As soon as this king was abdicated, again he came back to Russia. He and the Bolshevik had opposed the war since 1914. Vladimir Lenin was totally against the war. He did not like war. He was totally against the war. Now after coming back to Russia, what he felt? Vladimir Lenin, the leader of Bolshevik, what he thought? Now he thought like it. He felt like it was a time for Soviet to take over power. That means he thought now it is time to our council, our group, our party to take over the power in Russia. Now he declared that the war to be brought to a close. Now before explaining this, I'll come to the April thesis of Vladimir Lenin. Now what is this April thesis and why he implemented this? Or you can say what was under this thesis. Number 1 point, he declared that the war to be brought to close. That means he want war to be an end. Number 1. Number 2, land be transferred to the peasants and number 3, banks be nationalized. He want the land should be redistributed or distributed among the peasants. Number 3, banks should be nationalized. Now what do you mean by nationalized? Why banks should be nationalized? Nationalized means, or you can say like the banks should be under the government, not to any owner, individual owner. So that is the reason that Vladimir Lenin, he wants banks to be nationalized. Now April thesis this 3 demand was called April thesis. Vladimir Lenin. Number 1 point, I'll again repeat these things. Number 1, what was there? This was the 3 demands. What was the number 1? He declared that the war should be closed. That means end. The war should be end. Another, land to be transferred to the peasants, and number 3, banks should be nationalized. Now these 3 demands these 3 demands were Lenin's April thesis. These 3 demands was Lenin April thesis. He also argued that the Bolshevik party renamed itself the Communist Party were initially surprised by the April thesis. Now what happened? After this demanding April thesis, now what he want? He want his party, the Bolshevik party, name to be changed into what? Communist Party. Now why he want to change the name of his party, Bolshevik to Communist Party? Why? Because to indicate his new radical aims. Now new radical aims. Now his thesis, this April thesis brought a new aim. Now to come to highlight this new aim, he changed the name of the party from Bolshevik to Communist Party. They thought that the same time was not yet ripe for a socialist revolution and the provisional government needed to be supported. But over here, the other member of the Bolshevik party, what they thought that now it is not right time to go through it. Now all the members at this time, what happened? They were surprised about this April thesis. It is not time to put our demands. The other member of the Bolshevik, what they thought, now whatever the provisional government is doing, let's support for the time being. But what happened? Slowly what happened? But the development of the subsequent months changed their attitude. Now listen, but the developments of the subsequent months changed their attitude. But what happened? When the time slowly passed, what happened? The people mind slowly changed. Their attitude changed. That means the people who were not happy, they thought like it was not the right time to, isn't it? Now they thought these people only started fully supporting Bolshevik party. That means Communist Party. That means the thesis of Vladimir Lenin. All the people, they changed their attitude. What they thought? They thought that it was now time to support Vladimir Lenin. Now next paragraph. Now see, in this paragraph, or we can make a topic from this paragraph. What you can say, like, this is the reason for October Revolution. Because after this we have another topic. Which topic? The Revolution of October 1917. In this topic we'll find, you can say that now we can find the field of making October Revolution. In this topic, now there are lots of regions of October Revolution. Through the summer, the workers' movement spread. Now what happened? As already I told you, now to open union, association, or you can say council, national council group, anyway, now it was legal, it was free. In industrial areas, factory committees were formed. That means you can say factory committees means you can say a union or associations were formed, which began questioning the way industrialists ran their factories. Now what happened over here? In industrialists, what happened? They started forming a committee. And this committee started questioning to itself, to the industries person, how they were running the industries or factories. Trade unions grew in number. Slowly in the factories and all, trade unions started growing up. Even in the soldiers committees were formed in the army. Even in the army, a group of soldiers committees were formed. In many, maybe rank wise or the work wise, the committees were formed in the army. In June, about 500 Soviet sent representatives to an all-Russian Congress of Soviet. That means there was a meeting in all-Russian Congress of Soviet, and near about 500 Soviet were sent as a representative. In what? In a meeting, in a all-Russian Congress of Soviet meeting. As the provisional government saw its power reduce and Bolshevik influence grow. Now provisional, because already the government was under the provisional government, that is industries, armies and all. It was not under the Bolshevik party. The government was under the provisional government. That means you can say army officials, industrialists or landowners. So don't get confused over here. Now provisional government don't want to lose their power. Now what they thought? Now they thought like Bolshevik is coming up. That means Bolshevik power is growing, or you can say Bolshevik majority is growing more and more day by day. So that means here now it's a threatening to provisional government, because provisional government don't want Bolshevik to come to its power. And here another Bolshevik, that means Vladimir Lenin also don't want provisional government to come to its power. Otherwise, it might be like a dictator. So, as the provisional government saw its power reduce and Bolshevik influence grow, it decided to take stern measures against the spreading discontent. Now, seeing this situation, provisional government, seeing the act of this Vladimir Lenin Bolshevik party, now provisional government thought of taking some major steps. As I told you, because provisional government don't want Bolshevik to come to its power. Now it's time. Now provisional government thought, now it's time to take some major steps. Now what happened? Now see, it resisted attempts by workers to run factories and began arresting leaders. Now what happened? Slowly what happened, where this Bolshevik party, they formed many Soviet, all the leaders were captured, or you can say they were arrested. Who? Provisional government started arresting the leaders of the Bolshevik parties. Popular demonstrations staged by the Bolshevik in July 1917 were sternly repressed. That means what happened? The demonstration which was staged by the Bolshevik in July 1917, it was were sternly repressed. That means you can say provisional government did not give any chance, any opportunity to Bolshevik party to come or to make its government in Russia. Somehow this you can say Vladimir Lenin's party, Bolshevik party, was suppressed. By whom? By the provisional government. Many Bolshevik leaders had to go into hiding or flee. Now, because provisional government was already in power, it was who were running the government, they were under the government power. So what happened? That is the reason the Bolshevik there were no options now, because they were not in the power. So that is the reason the Bolshevik leaders have to flee. That means they have to run away from this place, because they were scared, if we stay here, we will be caught and we will be killed. Meanwhile, in the countryside, this is we're talking about in the city side. Now let's come to the countryside now. The countryside means out of the outskirt place of a city. That means out of the city area. Meanwhile, in the countryside, peasants and their socialist revolutionary leaders pressed for a redistribution of land. Now over here in the countryside, in the village area, in the Grameen place, what happened? Peasants and the socialist revolutionary leaders pressed for a redistribution of land. They want the land to be redistributed among the peasants. Land committees were formed to handle this. Now, land committees were formed for what purpose? For the redistribution of land to the peasants. Encouraged by the socialist revolutionaries, peasants seized land between July and September 1917. Now, between July and September 1917, between this July, August, September, that means 3 months, these peasants, they started seizing the land. And what happened slowly? They started distributing land among the peasants. Now you can say like this all provided, that means all the regions, they provided a fertile ground for what revolution? For October Revolution. So these are the reasons, these are the many reasons that took place for another revolution. What was that name of the revolution? October Revolution. That is the another topic of this chapter. Hope you guys understood this topic. I'll just few points I'll just recapitulate. In this topic, we read that provisional government started running the government because Tsar Nicholas II monarchy rule was over. Now somehow provisional government took place. In the middle, again, Vladimir Lenin came in April 1917 and he thought like now it is time to take its power. Now he started slowly taking a major decisions and all. His April thesis, he won because he was against the war. He did not want war. When we read before in socialism in Europe. In that topic also we read about these things, right? So in April thesis, what we studied these three demands: war to be closed, that means war should be end. Another, banks should be nationalized, and another demand was the land should be distributed among the peasants. This April thesis. Now slowly what happened, Bolshevik started taking its power slowly. Here another reason, now provisional government was now scared now, because provisional government did not want their power to be reduced. So somehow, because of that purpose, provisional government, what did, they took a major steps. They started arresting the leaders of the Bolshevik party, and somehow the leaders of the Bolshevik party, they have to run, hiding, flee from this place. So somehow these are the main reasons of the October Revolution, which we'll go study in the next chapter. Hope you understood, guys. We'll meet in another session of this chapter. Okay, till then, take care. Goodbye.